So we're going to talk about Maven, Tomcat server, and servlets. Let's see how far we can cover today. Mm, so before going to servlets, we need to understand Maven because we are going to write Maven projects. So Maven is nothing but see basically in simple way. As of today, if you want collection framework, right? Collection Java dot util dot any of the array list or something, those are built-in classes, right? So where are they sitting? The moment you simply wrote as of today, like import Java dot um, util dot array list or Java dot SQL dot connection, you simply wrote and the class will be available to you when you are writing, right? But just by writing import, the built-in class has been readily available to you. So so Java and the frameworks are independent. Spring framework, Hibernate framework, all these guys are the frameworks that has been developed around Java to support. So Java, when you download Java, Java is not getting all the libraries related to Spring, all the libraries related to Hibernate, all the libraries related to struts. It's not going to get. It's only going to get only the Java libraries that required, like java.sql, java.util, java.lang, java.reflections, java.threads, so java.concurrent. So only these section of data it is going to get. So how do you want to get the stats related APIs, stats related jar files, stats related built-in classes, string related, Spring related built-in classes? So you need to go online and download it and keep it in your um, build path, right? Last time what we did, Postgres, if you guys remember. Earlier, this Postgres is not available. This Postgres jar file is not available when we're writing a program. What we did, we went online, which means like I showed you, we went online and downloaded and added into the Java jdbc-crud.demo in this build path. Then only it started understanding arg.postgres.driver. Then only it started understanding the connection line. Where is the connection line? Yeah, then only it understand this class. Then only it understand it is class and loaded into memory, right? So what I'm trying to say is, so you can't download like this all the jar files in the world, right? Every time you need to go internet, download it and keep it in your local, and this is so annoying for you, right? So that is the reason they come up with a beautiful concept called Maven. What they did is, okay, I am going to launch a, let's simply thinking as a cloud server, okay? I'm going to launch a server where I'm going to keep all the libraries in the world that required, all the libraries that required in the world. I'm going to keep it there, okay? And I built a small framework which you need to start using it so that your application will build automatically. Which I'm not saying your business logic, your application, your application template will build automatically. So what they're trying to say is, in the internet, I am going to have a server called Maven where I'm going to ask everyone to keep their libraries here Spring, keep your libraries here, whatever required. Hibernate, keep your libraries here. Okay, and Struts, keep your libraries. Angular, keep your libraries, whatever it is. Then whoever want, just let the your application know what is the version of the library. I will come and download it for you. Okay, that is one thing. There are three parts, I'll explain. So this is called central repository. Maven central repository. Maven central repository. So one thing you need to keep in mind is whenever you write a program, when you add a library, you need to have an internet to download from the Maven central repository, right? And let's say you wrote two programs here, two different projects, project 1, project 2. Okay, so you asked Spring libraries, so you got Spring libraries in project 1. Okay, like the way we saw Postgres, right? You got it. So, and then that time you have an internet, let's say simple, typical way I'm explaining, okay, simple way of understanding. So you got internet and you downloaded successfully and your program is running fine because the library is sitting here. So next time what you will do, you will go and ask this, when you are running this project, internet is not there. So when you try to get from here, it doesn't work, that same library. Spring library, you're trying to get the Spring library, and as internet is not there, you are not able to fetch, so you are stuck, right? But typically what you will do, simple basic common sense, what you will do, you will take this library here available and keep it here, right? And then you start running your program. So which means as soon as you have a library available in your system, you don't need to go to the central repository to get the same library. Agreed? Same thing. Companies, what companies will do is, they, let's say this is the internet wall, okay? They keep their own repository. They keep, companies, each company will keep their own repository. Okay, so whenever you ask your project, whenever you ask for a library, instead of going directly here, first it will go to here in company central repository. Okay, let's say this one has Nexus most of the times because they will use Nexus. So remember this one, Nexus, okay? Any company. So it's local to their repository, local repository. So you will go here. If it is not available here, go here, get the library, download here and download here. So next time when you go, you don't need to go to here, central repository, you just need to get it from here, company central repository, rather than going Maven central repository. Make sense? So these are the 2 points important. And another important point you need to remember is, today you're going to write a servlet program. In order to write servlet program, there will be a structure defined. You need to have Java files. You need to keep Java files in a src folder, and there will be XML files. You need to keep them in web app folder, and you will have a test file library, in unit tests. You need to keep in a separate unit test, and then you need to have a POM file. You need to keep outside. You need to have a log file. You need to keep inside resources. You need to going to have property files. You're going to keep it in a resource folder. So these are the structures. This is the templates that has been defined in the industry. Whatever when you're writing studs program, there will be some structure. When you're writing JSP programs, there will be some template defined. If you keep the data in this format, when you deploy into the server, okay, when we deploy to the server will easily understand. Server will, okay, I want to know the Java files. It will go to src Java, and I want to know web.xml file. It will go to web app. These are the definitions has been defined across the industry, not only with you. Okay. So what will happen is Maven will come up another concept called Maven will come up as like you can build your project structures, project templates. Okay, you can build your project templates. Okay, just by conveying Maven what kind of project it is, what kind of project it is. So what it will do is it will create the structure, not your business logic. You are the owner of business logic, but the structure of the project. If you're writing web app project, it will create one structure, whatever the industry standard structure. If you are writing studs application, it will create one structure, industry standard structure. Make sense? So that is another thing. So these are the 3 points important to remember. So now I hope you guys downloaded Maven. So in Maven, what will happen is, if you go to C, keep it here. Okay, keep the Maven project here. So this is what you downloaded. Nothing, there is not a library. Okay, it's just a package. Okay, you don't need to install or something like that. Okay, so it will have basic libraries that it required to work. Okay, these couple of commands how to run, and then there will be a conf file. This is important. This is the settings.xml file. Okay, this is the important file that will Maven look for to fetch the data, from the repository. Make sense? To fetch the data from the repository. So another folder is, this is the Maven folder, right? You kept it here. And then another thing is .m2 folder. Okay. This will be installed here. Okay. This is where all your libraries will get downloaded in your local system. Okay. Any company you go, you will have this .m2 folder where your libraries will get downloaded. If you go to here, this is the library that is related to common school. Okay. All the libraries, okay, that will get downloaded as and when you keep asking to them. Okay, make sense? Okay, so another point is you need to configure Maven properly. Give me a second. Maven home, okay, C/Apache. You need to configure this, and then don't need a yeah. Here inside you need to configure /bin. This is the path location. Okay, Apache Maven 3.3.9/bin, whatever the version that you download, but download greater than 3 version. Okay, you need to configure this. Once you configure, whether your Maven is installed properly or not, how do you get to know? It's typical. mvn -version. So it will give you the what version has been deployed. Okay. So what it will do is, we talked about 2 points, right? One is keeping the libraries in the central repository. Another one is giving the template of the project. But in order to deploy your project, you need to, first what you need to do, you need to compile. Once you compile, what you need to do, so all the Java files has been properly compiled using Javac compiler. And then step 2, what you need to do, you need to take that, you need to create a package. As of today in core Java, we haven't created any packages because there is no what you call server concept there. So here we have a server concept where we are going to deploy into the servers. So you need to keep the same way libraries has been kept as of today. If you go to here, if I go to rt.jar, so these are the all your Java classes, right? Java.util, right? So if you go here, you can see some files that we know, right? And then these are all the Java files has been built into a jar file, packaged into a jar file, right? And yesterday we saw driver classes also, right? So if you go here, you can see the driver classes. It is packaged here. It is packaged here into arg.sql postgres.-9311, right? It's packaged into certain jar file. Same thing, you need to package before deploying your project. So for that for that, what you need to do first, you need to compile your application. Once you compile your application, you need to build the package. Once you build the package, you need to know the location where your server is running. You need to deploy there. Once you deploy there, you need to start the server. Once you start the server, you need to verify it. So there are certain things repeatedly happens. Every time you compile, every time you build the jar, you need to create the package and you need to install into the server. These are all the typical steps every time you do, right? So anything that we do routine, right, that will become automated. So same thing, Maven, what it does is it comes up with some life cycle, Maven life cycle. It provides certain commands to you. It provides certain commands to you. Using those commands, you can achieve these things. You simply trigger that command, it will take care of. I can say Maven install. What it does is first it clears everything, whatever the target folders, and then it will it will compile all the files and create jar files, I mean .class files, and then it looks for what kind of package you are looking for. It will create that kind of package, and then it will look for what location your server is installed. It will install, it will push your package into that location. So these are all will be done when you say Maven install. When you say Maven compile, it will just clear and compile. So there has been certain commands has been provided by Maven which will help us to achieve these things. So what are those commands? Yeah, these are the so build life cycle of made up of phases. Okay, so basically when you use, these are the typical commands: validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, deploy. If somebody can ask you what are the life cycles and can you explain the sequence, this is the sequence. Validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, deploy. Validate the project is correct and all necessary information is available when you use MVN. MVN is the typical command that Maven will understand. Just like a Java is the Java is the command that we want to compile and run the Java programs, right? Like that, MVN is the typical command that Java Maven will understand. Okay, someone is asking something when you say MVN. Okay, so validate, compile is compile the source code of the project. Test the compiled source code using the suitable unit test framework. So what happens is when you write the unit test case, right? You wrote a we have a good example, we'll see it. So you wrote almost 4 methods, right? So how many methods? Get connection, create registration, save registration details, update email, get user details. These many methods are there. You can write 5 to 6 unit test, 50 unit test cases. Unit test cases, each unit test case. What if I send a improper database driver connection? What if I send here in the user info instead of login ID is as a string, if I send a digit, what will happen? Is it failing or not? It should fail. If it doesn't fail, your program is wrong. These are the test cases. Unit test cases are testing your code units by units. Like this is your program. There are, let's say, simple way of, like, let's assume, not true, but let's assume there are 5 methods you have. So there are 5 units kind of thing. So you can write unit test cases, test for each method kind of thing. You can write 5 to different, like, let me pass double, what will happen? Let me pass string, what will happen? Let me pass login ID and reverse email ID reverse, what will happen? So these are all the different negative test cases, positive test cases you can write and expect the results. If the result is not the way you expected, then you can say your unit test cases are failing, so there is a problem in your program. That is what running the test cases. Okay. And then package. Test the compile code and package it in the distributed format such as a jar. You can create a jar, I'll tell you. There are 3 different types: jar, var, AR. Okay. There are two different, what you call it? 3 different packages, at least in here. We know, right? What you call rar, zip, .rar file and jar zip file, right? Just like the same thing, typical technology world. These are the things: jar, var, .jar file, .var file, .ear file. Okay. EAR is combination of jar plus var. Okay. Jar is a collection of .class files. .class files, you know how to end it, right? Var file is .class files, sorry, plus let's say web.xml. This is the way. Okay. So next is verify package, this package creating, and then run any checks on any or results of integration tests to ensure the quality of certain criteria are met. What does it mean? Verify is integration tests are, right? Integration tests are typically, what will happen is, now you tested unit test cases. Unit test cases are testing by unit, but integration testing are like a from end to end. Like, what if I provide a username and password, whether it is going to proper username password that is there in the database, whether it is going to the database and verifying it and coming back with success result or not. So you are testing entire flow. You are testing entire flow of a particular scenario. That is called integration tests. Make sense? So that is another point. And then install the package into the local repository for use as a dependency in the other projects locally. What does it mean is, when you write the .jar file, right, it will go and sit, it will go and sit in, is there any bell info? Yeah, see, earlier maybe I tried something, so some project will come, bell info test project, deployed and pushed into .m2 local repository. This is the local repository. There are three repositories, right? One is your local system repository, one is company's repository like Nexus repository, and another one is Maven central repository, right? So when you ask for a package, right? Let's say in my project I ask for Bell Info Test app. Then first what it will do, it will check in the local repository. If it is not there, it will go to the central repository. If it is not there in central repository, it will go into look into Maven repository. If it is not there in Maven repository, throw an error. I couldn't find anywhere, kind of. Okay. So that is what deploy. Deploy is done in the build environment, copies the final package to remote repository for sharing the other dependent developers and the projects. Okay, this is the life cycle of. So what happens is, when I say MVN test, when I say MVN test, what will happen? It will validate, it will compile, it will test, and it will say whatever the result. When I say verify, what it will do? It will validate, it will compile, it will test, it will package, it will verify. So in order to reach this verify step, it will go through all the steps predefined earlier to that. Make sense? So when you say deploy, it is verify, validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, and then it will go to deploy. Make sense? Okay. We are good with Maven. Let's go back and see in our projects. Let's see what are the different ways that we can create. So file, let me show you, I'll show you package creations, okay? Project creations or package creations, okay? So Maven project, this is the project you need to select, new project, Maven project. Go ahead. Test 1 to 3. Project name, so let me be correct, see, test MVN web app. Sorry, I picked the wrong project name. It's not right. Basically, I'm sorry for that. If you look at here, these are the different groups that has been available, right? These are the different groups that has been available. So there are bunch, some more are there. Why, I don't know why it is not displaying here. So in these kind of set, I'll select, like, there is a web app, right? I'll select simple web app. Let's see what will happen, right? I'll say, yeah, there is another concept, group ID package, and I'll tell you, don't worry. Web app, this is the artifact name I'm saying. Maven web app project. I can just, for the sake, I'm just giving test. Okay. Package name, it's you can remove. It's a goes always combination of group ID and artifact ID. You don't need to. So it's creating a project, and it is creating a Maven artifact web app. It's building it. So let's see, go back and see what it is there inside, right? So you haven't created any of these, right? It created for you. This is the template that has been created. So what I'm trying to say all the time is, see, src main. When you say web app project, when you ask for web app project, web app template is in this format. There will be index file, default index file, web by -inf, and inside you will have web.xml file, which will be understand by server, and as you say POM file, it will be POM will be created. A POM project will be created, and then this is the target folder where your all the compiled files will be compiled data will be available here. And this is again same thing, src folder, it's in structured format, and these are all the deployment descriptors that are available. So this is the typical template when you say web app project. Anywhere you say any project, any company you go, when you try to say Maven web app project, it will come in this structure. Okay, let me show you another one. New Maven project. Now earlier we selected what? Web app, right? Let me select quick start. I will say Maven simple. I'll delete this quick start. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. Um, so it created another Maven web app test. What are there? If you go here, not this one, right? We're talking about quick start. If you go here, so it created a main test folder as well. In this section, it doesn't create a text folder. If you look at, right, it didn't create a Java folder as well. Because this Maven web project is created for web app project is required. Should be compilable to deploy for any language. Okay, but this one is quick start is like Java test, and it doesn't have web app or resource folder. You getting my point? So each one has their own structure. Let me try some other thing also, different thing. You can see if you can. So each time when you ask for what you call it, a different Maven project, then it will create a different structure. Web app is a site simple. This, let me say JTA simple. Maven J2EE simple. Did you see how many structures has been, how many folders? JT is simple. it will create a lot of projects to you, lot of structures. This is the servlet structure. This is the logging for. These are the EARs, EJBs. These are the simple JTE, whatever the technologies that has been there inside JTE. These and all projects has been created, still building it. Okay, so if you go to EJBs, you will see EJB structure. This is how EJBs will be there. And if you go to Maven Quickstart is our primary source. So this is the structure. If you go to project, it will go to ER EJB's project. So this is the different structure. What you want, you need to know what kind of project you are writing. Based on that, you can ask it. Okay. So I'm going to delete them. You don't need. Nice. You got what I'm trying to say? Okay, nice. So another point is servers. Tomcat server, right? In Tomcat server, basically, how do you get the Tomcat server? Right here, I'll close that one. Just go window, show view, select servers. If you don't see in this here, go to others and search for it. Servers. It will get added here. And currently no servers has been added. So Tomcat also you need to, what you need to do? First thing, before we talk about that, you need to download and keep it here. I downloaded 7.0.67. I think I referred you to guys download the same thing, right? And then keep it here. That's it. Your server will be ready. I'll tell you what is server. Just so how do you add a server? These are the typical plugins that has been when you download Eclipse. These are the typical plugins that will be available related to server. Okay, HTTP preview, HTTP server, GTE server. Okay, pivotal server, object web. Okay, ours is Tomcat is Apache server. Okay, in Apache server, which version we need? We are downloaded. We downloaded. This is the template again. You need to give the server address. Okay, I'm going to use. I said like I need Java 7.0 server, right? Next, here the server name and browser. This is where it is asking for Tomcat installation directory. Getting my point? Tomcat installation directory. So where I install Tomcat, I'll go there. This is where I installed. So I'll select the Tomcat directory. And if you want to select a specific typical default JRE file or any specific jar file, you can select. Then if we have any projects to deploy available in this Eclipse loop and workspace, it will show up here available. And then you need to click add and it will go here in the configured. When you finish it, okay, the server will get added. So this is the server added here just for review. Okay, how do you run the server? As you integrated it, start the server. So you started the server started and synchronized here. As soon as you see the application is running. Okay, this is the console. When the server started, right, this is what happened. We now to bring up the server. This is all the things that happened, and Apache container started. Server started in 1082 milliseconds. Whether server started properly or not, on which port it is running, by default Tomcat will run on 8080. So I'll just go and check. Okay, TP localhost, as I am running in the localhost 8080. slash console. For some reason I'm not able to access the console. I'll explain later. Don't worry about it. Maybe I messed up with some data. So basically server is started. So let let me go to detail about servers or what are details of the servers kind of thing. Before I'm explaining server related stuff, I would like to go through what you call group ID, artifact ID, and version. Right? These are the three things we need to understand. Where do we see these things? Group ID, artifact ID, and version. When you run the Maven project, right? These are the three important keywords that Maven will understand and get you the data accordingly. So artifact ID, right? What is artifact ID? Artifact ID is the name of the jar file. Okay, name of the jar without version. What is the name that you want to create for the jar when you build the package? Okay, without the version. Okay, so basically if you created it, then you can choose whatever the name you want with lowercase letters and no strange symbols. Okay, like Maven simple. Okay, let me show you. And then that is the project jar file I want to create. Okay, that is the artifact ID. And then group ID. Group ID, basically what it is, it's a package ID. Like, if you remember, um, in your project, if you want a Java file connection class, what you will do? Java.sql.connection. What is the group? Java.sql is the group name, group ID. So if you want arc.postgres.driver, what you will do? Arc.postgres is the group ID. You getting my point? So that is the group ID we are giving here. A package is same thing, like whatever the package that you want to build the structure, where you want to keep the your Java files, and this is the version. There are This is the version that you need to know that your jar file will create. Jar file will create like Maven simple, whatever the version that we created. And then let me show you that one. There is no point in just plainly explaining. Let me go to this. Okay, what I'm going to do is Yeah, build is configure build path. We need to configure, right? There is something called build. Why it is not picking it up here? Give me 1 second. Don't have Maven build path here. How? Generally we will have here project. Build automatically on the other. Okay. What I will do, instead of this project, I'll take another project, okay? Because this one I need to create some folders just to show you. I don't want to waste time there. Any project you can do, but I'm just picking the simple one so that our purpose will be served. Simple steps. Web app doesn't give quick start will give, right? I'm just quick start. I'm saying okay. Quick start test. Script tested gives me Java. That's the reason I'm going. Okay. So now if I say yeah, run as Maven build. Okay. It will ask, so it selected quick start project. Okay, what is the goal? What is the goal is you need to pick the your life cycle. What is your goal? Okay, what I'm going to say is clean is it will clean the target folder cost completely. Now it is clean, but every time you do, okay, clean. And then what I will do is package. I'll say package. What it's supposed to do, clean package, validate, compile, test, and package should be created, right? Package. Okay, this is my goal. Okay, apply. Does it have any problem? All right, okay, run. Yeah, so my project is building. It's failed. The build is failed. It couldn't create the jar file. So because failed to execute goal, compiler plugin on project quick start -test, compilation failure, no compiler is provided in this environment. Perhaps you are running on a JRE rather than a JDK. So it gave me an instructions, your configuration is something wrong. I'll go here again. Maven build. Here is the previous project. Run configuration. Quick start. Maven build quick start. It is saying I am running on JRE. It is looking for JDK environment. I need to add. Come on, buddy. See, we have all the JRE libraries. We don't have JDK, right? So I think we encountered this issue last time as well. Where is this? But somewhere I need to add JDK. I'm just trying to see. Let me don't waste time. I think I covered this here somewhere last time. Let me check. Okay. Let me pick this guy again. No compiler is provided. On your Eclipse, go to Windows, Preferences, Java, Install JRE, and check your installed JRE. You should have an entry with JDK there. Okay, Windows, Preferences, Java, Install JRE. Java, Install JRE. We don't have JDK here. It is not allowing me, that's the problem. Java installed JREs, execution environments. Here it is not showing it up, so this JDK we don't have an option how to select. I'm just checking. Perfect. So what that guy is saying to me is go to here, instead of JDK Java JRE, select the JDK so that Let me see if I can run again. Okay, build success. So if you look at, right, basically the error we got is I configured JRE folder, but JRE used for what? Runtime execution. But what we want to compile the project, right? So what we want? SDK, where you have compiler as well. That's the reason I changed the location of the libraries that has been configured for this project. And then what I did, I went to here, run as, there I have Maven build dot dot dot, which will take you to configuration section. Okay, I configured run configuration. I'll show you. I configured the project name as quick start test, and then I given the goals. What is the goal? Clean and package. Clean is something which will clear out the target folder, and package will be created, right? So after that, when I click on build, what happened is you will see what happened. You have only by default .app.java file has been created by template. You haven't wrote any single line. But as the structure is in format, what steps will happen? It verified, validated, it compiled, it test, and if there is any test and package. So if you observe here, scanning for projects, Maven clean is it creates deletes the target folder, and then Maven resources plugin quick start test using some directories blah blah blah, and then it compiled, and then once it is compiled, it identified the where its path is, as there is no quick test, so it excluded testing, and then it went to what you called creating the jar file. See, what is the artifact name you picked? Quick start -test. That is the artifact name that you picked. Agreed? And this is the version that you selected. By combination of your artifact ID and version name, the jar file will be created. You got my point? And if you come here, where does it created? Quick start, target, not quick start here. Quick start -test, target. This is the location. Let me go there. I think it should show. Why it's not showing it up here? Yeah, you got it. Refreshing it. So this is the quick start -test -0001 snapshot.jar. You getting my point? So this is the artifact ID. This is the jar file. Same artifact ID name will be used for project name as well. Remember. Okay. And if you go here in pom.xml, double click on it, it will give you overview, but go to pom.xml tab. Here this is the default project that has been added, so you can see the group ID, artifact ID, version, what kind of packaging, jar file packaging by default it is taking, name of the project, and default URL package. These are where properties you can define, and then dependencies that you can add. As of now we haven't added any dependencies because we haven't write any dependency projects. Okay, so in simple way, I'll tell you. I want we downloaded Postgres, all the blah 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 to run the program, right? So what I will do is to show you in this quick start project, I will add a dependency So if you look at here, right, in the Maven dependencies, you don't see anything, right? Only JUnit. I'll show you. If I add Postgres dependency, whether the jar file will appear here or not, we'll see. Okay. So this is the block. Dependencies is having all the dependencies section. Dependency. We can understand more about this XML configurations all as and when we try. Okay. For now, you understand group ID, artifact ID, version. So this is where this will play any important role. This is your package, and Postgres jar file also having certain structure, and it deployed into Maven repository in the central repository, right? So that is the structure you need to write here. Okay, so if you go here again, how do I get those structure? Maven Postgres SQL 9.3 JDBC 41. This is the jar I have, so I'm just selecting it. So if I give here, see, you got the structure, right? Maven. So all you need to do, right? What you need to do? Simply copy this guy, okay, and paste it here inside dependencies. You got my point? Simply copy it here, place it here. Actually, mine. Yeah, let's see what will happen, right? What is that? So when I save this file, you can see the compilation happens here. Building workspace immediately. See, Postgres SQL 9.3.11.02 appeared here. So whatever the dependency you had, it will automatically appear in your project, and you can start using it. You see the beauty of Maven. Okay, that's good. I think we are pretty much good for today. So my humble request is go back and do the experiments. Practice. You don't need to write any logic, right? Did I wrote any logic inside? I haven't. Just create different templates and see the structure template differences, and see how do I create a Spring template, how do I create a Hibernate template. See, just ask, look in the Google and Maven and try to create as many templates as you want and see the differences, and play around with the goals, Maven goals, and play around with what you called yeah, Maven goals, and building structure, how to build all the stuff, and get familiarized, get confidence, so that we don't need to repeat these structures. I'll simply next time I'll simply come here and copy it here, copy dependency. You don't need what he's doing. You don't need to worry about what he is doing. You can, the more you get your fingers dirty, the more comfortable you will become. Okay. Thank you. Tomorrow we will start servlets. I thought of continuing servlets, but let's see. No harm done. Servlets, and do one program. Whatever once we're done with servlets and JSPs, once we do one program, right, end to end, that is the one we're going to do multiple times with different technologies. What are the luxury that we get with Spring? What are the luxuries that we get with